All right, we got part 2 of the Dialed In with Evan. So it took a little too long. We're going to finish off here. We still got a couple more questions we want to go over. So we'll wait for him to hop in. We'll keep it going. All right, we shall finish it up. All right, all right. Did you bring him in? I think it did. No? Okay, great. There we go. All right, we're back. So finishing off the question, just talking about bulking in general. When it comes to naturals, this is just my approach. Yes, I think that they need to bulk for extended periods of time. I don't like when people do this, like they're beginners and they do like a 4-month bulk and they're like, all right, I made it to my goal weight, I need to cut. Like, bro, you need to bulk. Your body needs time to, I guess you call it the homeostasis period. Your body needs to get a chance to adapt to the new weight that you put on your frame. Because if you don't, you're just going to immediately start dropping all the muscle that you just put on, that you just worked your ass off, that you spent hundreds of dollars on the bulk with. So I typically have my younger clients, especially teenagers, 19, 20, early 20s. I have them bulk 6, 7, 8 months and pack on a bunch of size, especially if their goal is long-term, they do want to step on stage. Because what the hell are you going to do if you don't have any size? You're going to cut down and you're going to lose everything you just worked for. So branching off to everything you said, I do agree with all that. And I do think that people rush their cut too quick. Sorry, they rush their bulk too much to go into a cut. So when in doubt, guys, it's okay to put on a little bit of body fat. If you start getting to 20, 25% body fat, then yeah, you're overdoing it. But I have nothing against putting on a little bit of body fat in a bulk if it means quality gains long-term. And that's really all I wanted to say for that. And then I think I saw a couple questions you wanted to say. All right, guys. If you grow your opposite low, does that mean you absolutely build muscle? I would talk to someone at a hormone clinic, man. I don't like giving specifics on questions like that because it's too unknown. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing when I don't know you. But let's keep the questions going. All right. How many rest days do you like doing per week? Are you a fan of training 5 days a week or 6 days a week or more?
Man, I wish I could train every day. I hate rest days, but I like the 5 days. I've been guilty of overtraining to the point where my strength just plummets. Like I've overtrained myself into some pretty big holes before just because I enjoy training so much. So 5 days I think is pretty safe. Like you can go pretty hard every day on those 5 days and then just, really soak those rest days in. I feel like 5 days is pretty solid, especially now that I would consider myself like, an intermediate lifter approaching advanced level. You can overtrain yourself pretty easily the stronger you are for your genetic potential, right? So absolutely. as a high schooler, I would train 7 days a week. You know what I mean? Even in first year, I'd be hungover and I would still go to the gym and crush a workout and feel pretty good. So, but as you kind of get stronger and stronger for your size and you get better and better and progress more, rest days become so crucial.
Yeah, no, I agree. The one person so this might be kind of random, but this was probably 5 years ago. I was at a fitness expo. We have them every couple of months in it's America in general or California. Now I met a Rich Piana for the first time. I know you know Rich Piana for the most part. Right?
Oh yeah.
So
all right.
I met with him in line and there was no one there. He's eating a meal and I was like, oh, if you don't mind, can I ask you a question? I was like, I'm new to bodybuilding. I want to compete next year. I'm still natural. I want to continue growing. And he's like, well, eat more food. I was like, well, okay. He's like, and then I was like, is that it? He's like, well, no, I was eating a bite of steak. Give me a second, bro. Come on. I was like, okay, all right. Either way, but he's like, eat more food. And then I was like, okay, what about rest days? I'm training every day, 10 days in a row, 1 day off. He's like, bro, that's not how you do it. Train 5 days in a week, have 2 rest days, eat on those rest days, get all your calories in, and you're going to grow like a weed. And I was like, is that really how it works? Why would I not grow training more days? It's like, well, your body grows outside the gym, not in the gym. And that whole conversation just stuck with me forever. So, RIP Rich Piana. But yeah, just and then fast forward, 4 or 5 years, getting a chance to interact with some of the best bodybuilders in the world. They all train 5 days a week in the off season. Maybe not all of them, some train 6, but as a whole, they all have at least 1 rest day per week. Many of them have 2. So they'll do something such as train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off, train Friday, Saturday, take Sunday off. So that's what a lot of bodybuilders are doing now. So if you're training 10, 15 days in a row, I really think you're hurting your gains, you're hurting your recovery. So I don't know.
No, I agree with you entirely, dude, for sure.
All right. Somebody asked what your least and favorite muscle group is to train.
Oh, damn. my least favorite muscle group to train is probably chest, just because it sucks.
Yeah.
But also my shoulders are crap too because of my shoulders. So I really like getting a delt pump, but like it's so hard for me to do. So the days that I can achieve a delt pump, I like it. But the other days that I'm just like, grinding through some shitty reps of like delt raises and stuff like that, I hate it. But I'll go chest on that one. And then my favorite my favorite muscle group to train, I think, is honestly legs. And if I had to be specific, I'd say quads. Like I love doing, I love doing like plat squats.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah. I would say one thing that when I ask people this question, I'd say a lot of people are always like, whatever muscle group that they have the best mind muscle connection with, that's usually like their favorite muscle group. Then the muscle group they have the least mind muscle connection with, that's their least favorite. So for me, my favorite muscle group back, I could, even with no food, no pump supplement, I could feel every single muscle fiber in my back firing. It's like one of my just genetically gifted body parts. Now my least favorite is arms. I cannot get motivated to curl something. I can't get motivated to do a freaking tricep extension. I just feel like I'm just sitting there just fucking whipping it. But that's my personal least favorite. Let's see here. We got a couple questions here. Do you monitor BPI or BMI? If so, what's the easiest, most accurate way to test it? I don't monitor the body mass index personally. Sometimes I gauge things off of body fat percentage. I also have my clients, depending on who they are, depending on what we're doing, I will have them do some like skin calipers and check things like that. Or if they have the money, I have them do a bod pod or the hydrostatic one, whatever, the one underwater, and I have things like that. But I typically do things by vision or scale weight, whatever. Okay, we got that. Already got that. Evan the Goat, TikTok Gods. All right. Okay. All right, we'll keep going down the list then. So this is a good question. All right. If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing about fitness, or, one thing to change, one thing you should do right, whatever, what would it be? So it has to be fitness related, not life related.
Damn, one thing.
Maybe one sentence. I don't know. One topic.
One word.
Yeah, one word. Trend. Trend. One word. Oh man.
Oh shit. I would say, honestly, like learn the nutrition right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because like especially as a young kid, like you don't need to have like really great exercise selection. Like training stimulus is pretty novel regardless.
Yep.
But as a kid, like I was eating probably way worse than I should have been, just in the sense that like I probably wasn't hitting my protein and probably wasn't eating enough. And I think nutrition, like obviously I think, a lot of people say like, yo, like diet's like 70% of it or whatever. I don't know if I agree with like that quantification, but diet's huge, you know what I mean? And at the beginning stages, like training stimulus isn't as important as hammering in nutrition. I think if I had my nutrition hammered in like pretty early on, that it would have been better overall.
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, diet is key, man. And in terms of like the 70, 80%, I do agree that number stands in the competing world. Now, to the average gym bro, anything, I don't think it matters that much. I think it's still 50-50 or something like that. But competing, if your diet is even slightly off and the other person's not, and you guys have the exact same genetics, same drugs, same everything, that guy's going to beat you. So that's the only time that I do agree that the nutrition would be a very high percentage. If I could go back and tell myself one thing, it would probably be, one sentence would be, stop lifting so heavy. That'd probably be my one sentence. Because I knew I wanted to be big. I knew I wanted to like branch out into bodybuilding, but from like 16 to 19, I was powerlifting. I don't know how I got into that. It's just what's popular in my area. And but my goal is I want to be big. Like I didn't want to be strong, and I just kept getting stronger. And I was like, what the hell am I doing, bro? Like now I'm getting injured, like my knees are hurting, my elbows are hurting, and like I'm not even big. So, and then I switched over to a hypertrophy training at 20. And that's when I had like this crazy 1-year transformation, like won this contest. It's like, whoa,
damn.
That's what training at 12 reps does. Okay, you grow weight, you grow muscle. Awesome. So that's what I'd say. Stop lifting or stop lifting so heavy. All right. Let's see here. Only a couple more questions because I don't want to hold you here all day. So we'll end off with maybe like two more, and then whatever we got comments. All right. What advice would you give someone who's about 14 to 15? So let's say a freshman in high school. What would you give to someone who wants to get into like fitness, working out, building muscle, someone at a very young age?
Without getting too specific, That's a tough one. I would say I always tell people to start really small. In terms of like, you know, the habits that they try to establish, you know what I mean? Like take baby steps, right? Because habit, like you build, it's really difficult to like, you know, establish habits that are way different from your usual routine. And as you know, like routine and consistency is absolutely everything in the world of bodybuilding and training and stuff. So I would say like start small and really prioritize the stuff that, sorry about that. I was getting a low battery notification, but we're good.
You're good.
Yeah, I would say start small and dial in the stuff that's going to pay dividends down the road. And then because, you know, the establishing habits is like picking up momentum, right? Like after you establish a small habit, then you don't have to think about it anymore. And then you can pick up, you know, then you can pick up the more like significant stuff like that. And then in terms of specifics, I guess I would just say like, you know, train hard and eat a lot and hit your protein. Those are the three categories probably.
Okay. No, I agree with all that. From my point of view, if I was talking to someone who's about, say, a freshman in high school, I'd say the number one thing would just be stop copying everything you see on social media. You know, like I could even say, I'd stop saying that I'd say it to an adult too, but specifically a younger kid. I know that there's a lot of influencers who just like bodybuilders, whoever you look up to, you know, on YouTube, and it's like they do so many crazy exercises. They'll talk about, you know, you need to do keto this, then do that, do this. Like I just try to encourage, you know, younger people just like get in the gym, have fun, learn the basics. You know, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there. You know, I may not agree with Greg on everything or half of what he says, but I still think as a beginner, he puts out a lot of good information that a lot of beginners can pick up on and learn. And then on top of that, bodybuilding.com, muscleandstrength.com have hundreds of free workout plans, free diet plans directed towards teens, and just learn the basics. Don't hop on gear. Do not go follow some super crazy unorthodox workout plan. You know, do something like push, pull legs, upper, lower, bro split, something to enjoy, and stick with that.
Yo, actually, I want to change my answer because that's a really good reply. I just want to say, I think my answer would probably be like learn to enjoy like the boring stuff. And by that, I mean, like, if you need a new workout every day to like stay, you know, like interested, that's just not going to work. I hate seeing influencers that are like, yo, try this workout of the day, push workout. I'm like, bro, you haven't done the same push workout in the last like 6 months. And the only reason you're making gains is because like, well, it's not the only reason. It's still going to provide a stimulus, but it's because you're on gear. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that they're doing that because they're trying to show like, you know, if you didn't like the last push workout, well, then try this one. And perhaps they're pushing the idea like now chase progressive overload with this specific push workout for the next like, you know, 4 months or whatever. Or maybe that's too long, 2 months, but that's the kind of thing. Like I really hate the idea of, like you just said, like all these influencers who are like, yo, try this workout, you know, try this workout, or like you have chest fat, try this workout. And it's like, that's not how it works. Like, man, I hate that stuff, but
I don't see our industry getting any better. You know, I think a couple of years ago, it was a lot harder to get, you know, influencer status, whatever the hell you want to call it. It was a lot harder. Now you could have one viral video, just one, and then you'll TikTok will end up with like 15, 20,000 followers. And then like from there, you can start making an impact, whether it's good or bad. So I think our industry is pretty screwed within reason, but you know, not much you can do.
We'll do our best, eh? You and I will we'll do our best to hold up the good side of it.
Okay, we'll skim through all these questions, then we'll end off on that. All right.
Sure.
Does it matter when you take your rest days? I train 3 days on, 1 day off. Typically, that's what works good for my body. Some people do 4 days on, 1 day off. What was your rest day schedule? I know you said you had a couple rest days.
Yeah, my rest day schedule is Friday and Sunday.
Okay. Do you feel that's
too close weird? Yeah, if I were like training for hypertrophy, I would probably do like a 3 day on, 1 day off, 2 day on, 1 day off, or like a 3 on, 1 off like you do. But because I'm training more of like powerlifting focused right now, the 2 rest days are right before my heavy compound days, so it makes sense in that regard.
No, I got you. Okay, no, that's fine. Good answer. All right, Evan already talked about his training split. We can end off on that topic. I think it's pretty cool, just because it'd be debatable. So what are you, because you said you were on testosterone, what are your views from your opinion? I know obviously because you're with the company and whatnot, but you know, we could discuss it. You know,
I'll be fully transparent about it. Honestly, because that's something that I value regardless. And I honestly, I don't know Derek like on a personal level necessarily. Like he and I do like go back and forth sometimes. but I don't get the idea that Derek is like, he wouldn't push a product he didn't believe in, and I don't think he would give a shit if I said I didn't like it anyway, because
Yeah.
you know he knows that like all of the guys on his team are going to be, you know, they're individuals, right? So
Yeah, of
that
course.
being said, I've only been on Turk for Monday last week. So what's today? So this coming Monday will be 2 weeks.
Okay.
But it was difficult to tell if it was doing anything this week. I assumed it was going to take like a little bit of it for it to kind of like start working its magic anyway, if it was going to work at all.
Yeah.
And then we went into lockdown like a week ago. So I went from training in a gym to training at home. So that in itself, like, you know, I'm using different weights. I'm using a slightly different setup, using different equipment and stuff like that. So this week that has just gone by was kind of like the week that I established my baseline in terms of numbers. Because I definitely think that if I'm going to notice a difference, excuse me, if I'm going to notice a difference, it's going to be strength before I notice a difference in like size and how I look, just because I think strength is going to manifest sooner. That being said, if I had to say this week, if I think I'm stronger or not, I do think I feel a little bit stronger. I'm pretty beat up right now physically, in the sense that like we've been running this mesocycle for a while now, and as of the last couple of weeks, I've been pretty sore. Some of my lifts have even gone down, but this past week was actually not a great week in terms of recovery, as far as like my sleep habits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I was still getting like at least 8 hours, but there was a couple nights that, you know, I was fitting a meal in and I had to go to bed later and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think this week, if I had to say one way or the other, I do feel stronger, even though I don't think I should feel stronger considering how I've been recovering. But I'll definitely make a post next week, because this week will have been like the baseline in terms of like my performance in the new setting of the home gym. So I'll be able to tell better next week. And, you know, at that point, I'll have been on it for almost 3 weeks. So it will definitely be working if it's going to work by then.
Is the recommended period 8 or 12 weeks?
I think the recommended period is, it depends how many. So you can do, I think the bottle says 1 to 2 pills for like a beginner. And then if you're on the upper end, I think it's like 4 to 6.
Okay.
So, which is a pretty like large range. But so I think the bottle has slightly different directions than what Derek has recommended in some of his videos. I'm on 6 pills per day because I wanted to just see if I was like, okay, if I'm gonna see a difference, like I'm gonna go right to like the upper end, because if it's debatable I'm gonna see a difference at all, then I'll definitely see a difference, or I won't at 6, and then I'll be able to know for sure it does or doesn't work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm on 6 pills per day, and that I have 4 bottles of it, and I think that's probably going to last me 6 weeks, I think. So I want to say 6 weeks is probably the general guideline. But if it doesn't actually have any side effects, which is what allegedly is the case, then I guess theoretically you could run it indefinitely. I don't like the idea of doing that with anything.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I wouldn't even do it with the creatine, bro. I'd even cycle off creatine. So I don't know.
Fair enough. And I think, like, you know, obviously it's still very like experimental, if you want to call it that, which Derek will recognize. He's you know, fully recognized that in his videos. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there is a prescribed, you know, cycle length, if you want to call it that. And like I said before in the beginning of this live, or I guess it would have been the last live, the first half, I'm extremely skeptical, you know what I mean? And just like anabolics, like, you know, some people are non-responders. People ask me my opinion on it all the time, and I'm like, I only have the same information that all you guys do. You know what I mean? The only information I have on is the studies that Derek has shown, and then his videos. Because, you know, I trust Derek, and like I said, I don't think he cares to like mislead people. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He's like, yeah, it's an experiment. It may or may not work. The evidence, the anecdotal evidence, so take that for what it's worth, has been compelling from other people. And like I said, I feel, if I had to pick one way or the other, I would say I feel stronger. But I'm not going to say that I feel so noticeably stronger that I'm like, yeah, it definitely works. But I'll definitely post like a follow-up probably next week, and then, toward the end of the cycle, if you want to call it that as well.
Yeah, no,
Because a lot of people have been asking
are gonna
about
want
it.
to see it. I know, like, it's one of the most debatable topics right now.
Yeah.
Even on my end. So I'll give you like the super, like my point of view. So I was very aggressive towards it. Like I was talking mad shit. This was like months ago when it first came out, or when it got very
Sure.
popular. Reason for that was the way he marketed it. So I'm cool with the way he markets it now. He's honest about it. When it first came out, he marketed it as a very strong natural anabolic, and like the way he was wording it was like it really was a new like anabolic in a natural form. And like the way that he was saying it, like it kind of threw me off. I was like, man, that's like, I would consider that a money grab the way he worded it. Now, the way he words it now, I do agree with what he's saying, and he's marketing it now that it could be equivalent to taking 5 milligrams of Anavar. Now, people hear the word 5 milligrams of Anavar and they get super excited because like shit, it's close to an anabolic, but people don't know that 5 milligrams of Anavar would affect a woman. Okay, like it might help her a little bit, maybe not much, but in a man, that's not doing shit for you. It's not going to do much. So he's not lying to anybody. He's saying it's equivalent to 5 milligrams of Anavar. And if you really think about what 5 milligrams of Anavar does to you, it won't do anything. So he's technically saying it may or may not work for you. So I do agree. He's no longer lying. Now, the only other thing that kind of changed my opinion on it, whether it's good or bad, that made me not want to ever try it, was I asked someone that I look up to in the supplement making world, who's, been in it a long time. And I asked him, why is not every company jumping on this? Specifically, someone like Blackstone Labs or all the people who make Jack 3D. Like, why are these companies who always make sketchy shit not jumping on board with it? And he said that they don't see enough evidence in it, and they're scared that they may end up with a lawsuit. They're scared that they don't know what the long-term effects are. They don't know it yet because there's not very many studies out. So that's why other companies aren't like, yo, he's making, however much money he's making up, let's go do it too. So that's what I was told, and that's kind of like how I base my opinion. I was just curious, like, if it works so good, why would not every company want to jump in and be like, hell yeah, money on the table? So I don't know.
No, I completely agree with you.
That's how I base my opinion, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that's totally valid too. Like I said, I don't know Derek on a personal level necessarily, but I also, I watch his videos, and before I started taking it, because I had like 4 bottles of it for months, but I waited to take it for a couple of different reasons. The primary reason just being that I just started working with my coach, so I wanted to see kind of like what our organic, what that would produce in terms of strength and overall development in an organic way.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to, I didn't want to have too many variables going at one time. But like I also wanted to wait because again, I'm very skeptical, and I wanted to do my due diligence, and I didn't have time to watch all of his videos and do all my research and stuff like that. But when I watched his videos thoroughly before I started taking it, in my opinion, like I get the vibe from Derek that like, he's just very like matter of fact, this is what it is. And he's like, it's not going to be anything crazy if it's anything at all. He acknowledged in one of the videos that he's like, I don't expect this to necessarily be like to even work. He said, I'm just going to try it out. He said like, I'm currently taking, I got a couple of my athletes taking or whatever. And then he said, he had this little thing going where he had like, a bunch of people who were like signed up for his newsletter. They were going to be the only ones that were going to be able to buy it, like the first batch. And he said, like, these kind of people, he was kind of looking or hoping that would be able to provide him with some, compelling feedback one way or the other. And I'm well aware that people are biased in the sense that, like, they want to tell somebody good news. You know what I mean? So if somebody jumps on 4 pills a day and then they're like, man, I feel super strong, could be placebo and they could genuinely believe it. They could be getting stronger, but just because you get stronger when you work out, with or without, supplements. And then there could even just be like, overall, they're like, I really feel like maybe I'm stronger and I want to tell somebody good news. So they're like, yeah, I'm feeling, they're all gung ho about it. And I was well aware of all those things being, possibilities, as, there was lots of evidence, like I said, anecdotal evidence coming up, that people were like, yeah, it's definitely working and stuff. So, I mean, like I said, I'm very skeptical, and that's why, like, I'm hesitant to say one way or the other, that it's working, because if it's not working, I'm not going to say it is. You know what I mean? Like that's the reason that I was so happy to be with Gorilla Mind, like way back before they even started making Turk, was because their pre-workout, like I know enough about supplements. I was like, damn, this is like legit stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's in solid dosages. Precisely. So for me, I was like, I will have no issue standing behind that. But by the same token, like if Turk doesn't work for me, I'm going to say it didn't work for me. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm a non-responder. Maybe it's a complete farce. I don't know. And I personally don't think Derek's going to have an issue with that. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be like, I'm well aware that for some people it may not work, or I'm well aware that it might not work at all. But, there's lots of theoretical basis that it should be somewhat beneficial. And like I said, I looked into the studies myself, and it was compelling enough. And then I think what really pushed me to try it was in that same video that he compared it to Anavar, or Steve compared it to Anavar, because they do that little podcast with the three of them.
Yeah, I think that was one I was watching for discussing it.
Yeah, and Steve came back and he said, like, yeah, after being on all these other anabolics and stuff like that, and then doing my post-psychotherapy and coming off for a while, and then going on Turk, he said, like, nothing in terms of blood work came back negative. Everything actually improved. Now, that's not to suggest that Turk improves any of your like markers in certain areas, but
that'd be hard to prove. that bigger.
Oh, absolutely. But I just meant the fact that he's like, yeah, nothing was bad. That was like, okay.
Didn't make it worse.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm like, okay, I'll take this guy's word for it. That's somebody's personal decision, right? Like if somebody like, why would you take a random guy on the internet's word for it? Well, fair enough. I can completely understand why that would seem sketchy as well. So, but yeah, I decided like, I had enough guys. I knew enough guys that like, from on the Gorilla Mind team that were taking it, and I hadn't heard of a single story in terms of a side effect. And I was like, if it's going to be beneficial, then I'll take it, because it's not going to be so beneficial that it's like game changing. But it would be beneficial enough that like maybe I'd notice a difference, and I would obviously appreciate that given that where I am in terms of the stage of the game. But yeah, I think that if people are more than within their right to be skeptical of it, and that's why I'm going to make sure that I give like a transparent review of it. But that's why I also jumped on or did like the six pills per day, because I wanted to see like if I'm going to notice something, if I was on 4 pills and I was like, I don't really know if I notice something, then I could say like maybe I did notice something, but it's hard to say because I was only on 4. Well, it takes a little bit of the guesswork out of it if you go to like the 6 pills, right? So anyway, that's my perspective. Like I said, I think people are well within their right to be, skeptical or, cautious or that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that Derek has like conducted himself well in terms of basically it's being like, listen, here's what I found. Here's all the information that I was privy to, and now you guys are privy to it as well. I'm going to produce the best product I can with this information. We're going to see how it goes.
Yeah. So. I mean, honestly, I hope it works, like even though I've hated on it in the past, it came off negative. I'm all for new supplements, all new experiments coming out, because you never know. Like if it really does what it says it does, imagine, you could spend $40-$50 and get the best possible natural anabolic without ever having to hop on gear. I'm all for that. Maybe it'll replace the freaking SARM usage, bro. I'm all for natural.
I completely agree. But it's like, I highly doubt that it would, I can almost guarantee that it's not going to have like, in terms of like the results that SARMs do in terms of like performance benefits.
No.
The way that Derek says too, he's like, man, if there's no side effects and it gives you even like, 1 additional pound of muscle in a year, like once you're at like 8, 9, 10 years of training, like that's a pretty big deal. And, I mean, an advantage is an advantage. But you're right when you talk about like the chronic effects, because blood work is only like the acute effects, right? Somebody could be like, I did my blood work and my blood work's all fine. Well, what maybe it's going to have an effect where, you do 1 cycle of it, and this is pretty exaggerated, but like, and then you don't know the negative effects of it until you're 15 years down the road. That's not something that they can possibly look into, at least at this point. So I was wary of that as well.
Yeah. And when someone asked me if I would try it, even if it was free, that's what I was wary of. Like that's what would scare me. Cause there's a couple of new anabolics out too. And like, even though they sound good on paper, we don't really know what could happen. I'm not trying to be in the same situation I was like 6-7 years ago when SARMs came out, and I was bluntly like a year, I tried it and I was like, hell yeah, they told me he's going to do this. And then 6 months later, my blood looks like I just blasted trend for a year, like that's what I'd be scared of. So like, it's awesome that you're getting to test it. If you got a chance to ever do blood work and like compare it just to make sure nothing changes, that'd be even better. That'd be dope.
Definitely. I actually did get my blood work done because I've been having some like recovery issues just in terms of like overall energy and like how I've been feeling and stuff. So I actually have a baseline from probably like a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I do plan to like get my blood work done within the next month, assuming that I'm able to now that we're in lockdown again. But just to compare. Not that I'm expecting to see anything on that, because like you and I were just talking about, like,
Yeah,
I honestly feel like if there's going to be anything, it's going to be like a down the road issue. But no, I think that's a obviously it's just due diligence. You know what I mean? Like, you can never be too careful. So
yeah, no, I'm down for it. And we'll end off on that, man. Thank you for the explanation. You know, like that. I know that's a topic I want to discuss. I just want to say it for the, you know, like that would be a cool thing.
for sure.
Discuss. But yeah, no, just anything if you want to shout out whatever sponsors you got or anybody who can come follow you. Anybody who follows me, go follow him. Anybody that follows you, come to my page, follow. You know,
Absolutely.
But yeah, who are you sponsored by? What are all your sponsors?
So I'm currently working with Gorilla Mind. That's my supplement sponsor. And like I said before, you know, I do have like a reasonable understanding as far as, you know, supplements and the compounds and the ingredients and stuff like that to go into them. Yeah. And that's why I was more than happy to work with Gorilla Mind, because, I mean, everyone knows Derek is, you know, the pharmacology all-father, right? So I was like, everything that I know, this, you know, checks off all the boxes. So yeah, I'm with Gorilla Mind. Code Evan is my discount code for 10% off and to help me out a little bit. And then my clothing sponsors are Young LA, who I have been with since February, I believe. Nice. My discount code with Young LA is also Evan, and that's a 15% discount and helps me out a little bit. Young LA has been fantastic. I'm genuinely blown away by the quality of their clothing. When they first reached out to me, I didn't have high expectations, just because, you know, I figured they're a relatively new company, and usually newer companies are, you know, they're not quite able to produce the quality that like an established company is, but of course blew me away. And then I'm also with Kami's Power Apparel, which is an anime clothing company, and he's just a small startup, but he's been pumping out some really cool shirts in the last little bit. And my discount code is also Evan for that as well, and that's a 10% discount. And then, yeah, I mean, follow me on IG and TikTok. My TikTok username is Evan_Holmes_. I try to post, you know, educational content as well as a little bit of entertaining stuff, although you won't see me doing any dances. And I'm not that funny, but you know, I do my best to
maybe in the future,
Yeah, you know, if I really get sucked in and I got to sell out hard or something like that. But yeah, that's everything from my perspective. I really appreciate you having me on, man. It was great to chat. And
of course,
just
man.
Go over some like
I
questions.
learned a lot about it, so it's pretty cool. Maybe we could do it again sometime.
I'd be more than happy to do that, man. Absolutely. I think that an ongoing dialogue would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Maybe we'll do it at the end of the Turk cycle. That'd be a cool, or not debate, but like we get to like talk about that, how your results were and everything. So maybe we'll plan for
Definitely.
that.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds good,
man. Good, bro. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday to come talk with me. Like I said, everybody, if you don't follow me, follow me. If you don't follow him, go follow him. We'll do it again in the future. I'll probably have another episode of Dyel'd in next week with somebody else. So stay tuned. All right, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
All right.
You
Later,
too, man.
everybody.
Thank you.